Good evening, everyone. Once again, I welcome you all to the second session of Current Affairs. And like I said in the previous class, this is a part of one of our ongoing series, 90 Days Catalyst course, which is basically focusing on different competitive exams, taking APSc prelims as the umbrella exam. So the second session is in continuation with the previous session where we had completed or we had started off with the current affairs of the month of April 2024. Aru ami national and Assam events kitaman discuss korisilu, and this session will be continuous till the next 3 months, of course. We'll be covering various aspects of current affairs as well as various aspects of static GS content as well. Okay, so in continuation with our previous class, let me go back to the slide. Yeah, this is the overview of the course that is already in process. We are publishing daily MCQs, classes, materials in this 90 days catalyst course. If you want to join this course, then for subscription, you can contact in the given number over here. Okay, so let us proceed to our current affairs section for today. We had done a few topics on election commission, Chabahar port. We had done something on disaster diplomacy, India Australia security partnership, তাৰ লগতে আমি অকাছ চাইছিলোঁ. We had seen current affairs from social point of view, and that was on high income and wealth inequality in India based on the Oxfam report. And today we are going to start a new section. We will start from internalization of rupee. So the idea is to make or to internationalize, মই internationalization কৰিছোঁ, sorry, slip of tongue. So international currency হিচাপে rupee, our currency, the Indian currency, globally acceptable koribole, it is going to be a strategy. How long is the strategy is going to be the 10-year strategy. Okay, it is a 10-year strategy to make Indian rupee a globally accessible and acceptable currency. So this is the current affairs. Yate apnaluke monot rakhibo internationalization or definition to which will come as it is in the MCQs. Okay, the definition is very important. That বহু different ধৰণে statements বিলাক বনাই দিব. For example, internationalization মানে হ'ব rupee in লোৱাটো নে দিয়াটো. For example, they might reverse the statement যে Indian currency to India acceptable কৰিবলৈ বা বাহিৰৰ currency India acceptable কৰিবলৈ. That might be internationalization. But the take you have to remember the keywords. You have to remember that it is internationalization mane hoise it is the global acceptance. Okay, international currency is one that is used and held beyond borders. So this is the basic definition. Like I said, US dollars are accepted worldwide. They are not only accepted in US alone. Okay, even in India, if you see, even in India jetia amar currency hisabo jodi ami sao to holding US dollars is considered to be more powerful. Okay, and currency internationalism thus has been described as the international extension of national currencies' three basic functions of serving as a unit of account, medium of exchange, and store of value. This is more of a mains content. Teneke directly amar প্ৰিলিমছত নুসুধে বা যিকোনো ধৰণৰ আমাৰ কম্পিটিটিভ এক্সামছত এইটো নুসুধে, বাট ষ্টিল যেতিয়া আমি কাৰেঞ্চি ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেলাইজেশ্যনৰ কথা কওঁ তেতিয়া তিনিটা আমাৰ বেছিক ফাউণ্ডেশ্যন থাকে. অ'কে, তিনিটা বেছিক ফাংচন আমাৰ থাকে. সেই কাৰেঞ্চিটোৱে এজ এ ইউনিট অফ একাউণ্ট ইট শুড ফাংচন. অ'কে, ইউনিট অফ একাউণ্ট ইট শুড হোল্ড ভেলিউ. That is important. Third is it is a medium of exchange. That means if you want to buy something with rupees, then in the US, in America, or in England, or anywhere in the world, they should accept the rupee as a medium of exchange. That is accepting the medium of exchange. Aru hetuwe hoise apunar currency internationalization or তিনটা বেসিক ফাউণ্ডেশ্যন ভেলিউজ. অ'কে, বা ফাউণ্ডেশ্যন ফাংচন বুলি ক'ব পাৰে. যদি এই তিনিটা আপোনালোকৰ ফাংচন ফ'ল' হয়, দেন দেট পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ কাৰেঞ্চি কেন বি কল্ড এন ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল কাৰেঞ্চি. ইন দ্য প্ৰেজেণ্ট কণ্টেক্সট there are 5 currencies which are considered to be international currencies. Okay, I'll repeat the concept again. First of all, the first and foremost point under this topic is what is internationalization of rupee. Internationalization of rupee is basically global acceptance, okay, and accessibility of our currency. Second কথাটো হৈছে that what is an international currency which does not or beyond borders. Okay, beyond the borders, the currency can be used not only in the current country in which the resident is there, but also for the non-residents. Okay, third কথাটো হৈছে currency internationalization. It is the requirement of three basic functions. First, it should be a unit of account, medium of exchange is use hobo pare, and as a store of value. This is mostly for mains context. In prelims তেনেকে নুসুধে, okay? Prelims are kind of A2 point important here that the country is taking or the government is taking a 10-year strategy to make India as a global currency. Okay, and the last one is currently kun keta amar international currency hisabe loy a saita currency, which is US dollar, euro, Japanese yen, and pound sterling. Okay, so these are important components of internationalization of rupee. Please remember this. Let's go to the second point. Very, very important. There are two terms here. One is anti-dumping. Our second term to logote moi koi disu because although it is not mentioned here, that is countervailing duty. So any current affairs related to these two duties or these two terms is very, very important. Okay, let us first understand what is anti-dumping. Let us understand what is countervailing duty. Although the news is only about anti-dumping, but you should have to do an associated context. So let us discuss that. So basically, anti-dumping hoy ki. I'll give a very small example. Okay, let's say this is country A, and consider this is India. Okay, let's say this is country B, and of course, amar jehetu mostly anti-dumping duties bila abhi China, Korea, Japan, tarpra ami mostly face koru. So let's just take these South Asian countries. Okay, so let's say there's a notebook. There's a notebook we have. Our India tia dam to is 45 rupees. Okay, so the cost of this notebook is 45 rupees. The cost of the same quality notebook, again মই কৈছো quality, for example paper quality, binding হৈ গ'ল, hardboard to হৈ গ'ল, anything and everything, that same quality notebook in China, okay, in China it is somewhere around, let's say 55 a koi disu, okay, 55 something, in there of course 55 in their currency it is 55 rupees or something, I mean of course they have নিজৰ currency. Next is renminbi jundu koi aru. Next is in case of anti-dumping, now there will be a situation when this particular notebook from China's market, okay, from China's market, it will be sold in India. I hope you're getting this idea. This particular notebook, which is sold at around 55, is going to be sold in India, but at a cost of 30. Okay, now you're getting the difference. I hope you're getting the difference. The same quality notebook, which is for 45 rupees in the Indian market, is being sold at 30, which is already in China product juntu hoy, that is being sold in India at a cost of 30. So what is the difference here? What is the problem here? The problem is people will not go for the Indian product, right? They will not go for the Indian product, but they are going to go for the Chinese product, and this is history. Every time this only happens, I think our Indian market is flooded with Chinese products like this, and it affects the domestic market. So this is called juntu condition not nijor market or jodio amount to besi, but they are selling, the country is selling at a lesser price in the or get in the as an export. That means hey particular product jodio nijor market or it is at a very high rate, but they dump they dump that product in other countries' markets at a lower price. This is called dumping. I hope you're getting the idea, where they have a high value of that product in their own market, but they dump it at a lower price in the other markets. So what happens is nijor country jodio market to low hobo for that product, the export jeta koribo tetia he particular product to foreign market, or they'll get a better price. Okay, they are going to flood the entire market with their product because it is cheaper in amount, or it is cheaper in quantity, quality, whatever it is. Okay, so this is called dumping. Now what does the government do? The government does a very, okay, I'll remove this one, sorry. So the government is also, it also knows that this kind of phenomenon is going on, and the market, definitely domestic market, always remember this keyword, our domestic market is definitely being hampered by this particular strategy, right? So what it does is the government avails an anti-dumping duty. Okay, this, the government avails an anti-dumping duty. So what happens is juntu product 30 rupees or DC, suppose, okay, in Indian market, plus there is always some custom duty. Okay, let's say if it is 10% also, then also it will be around 33 rupees only, but Indian market or junto ama Indian product it is still 55. So in order to, so that a 33 rupees or junto amar market 33 rupees or biki ase, he particular product to jate amar domestic market to affect nokorok, anti dumping duty of around 22 rupees will be imposed on this particular Chinese product, making it equal to 55 rupees. As a result, ki hobo, both the costs are now equal, although in the original price it was 33 rupees only, but then also 22 rupees of the anti dumping duty diya hoy. Okay, anti dumping duty diya hoy, so that it is made at par with the Indian product. Now it will not hamper the Indian product. Okay, so I hope you're getting the idea. I'll repeat it again. So anti dumping or ki hoy, there is a product in India, suppose for example it has a value of 55 rupees, the same product, same quality is being sold in the Chinese market at 30 rupees, and 50, sorry, one sec, I'll come back to it, I'll repeat. Sorry for this. So the Indian market mein the daam of the product is around 55 rupees. The notebook, okay, this notebook is sold at around 55 rupees. In the Chinese market also it is sold at around 55 rupees. But jetia he Chinese product to Indian market pothai dibo, tetia 30 tokat bike. Now the government sees this. This is called they are dumping them products in the Indian market. This will hamper our domestic product. So what they'll do is yar logot custom duty kiba ta lagibo definitely, right? So hey custom duty to bahireo they will impose an extra amount of 22 rupees, making it equal to the Indian price. So this is called the anti-dumping duty. Now what happens is this duty cannot be imposed on every single product. Okay, so for that there's a proper protocol, and it is always recommended by the DGTR, the Directorate General of Trade Remedies. So ami at copy notebook kotha koisu, but there'll be other products, there'll be other kinds of important let's say commodities junkhini Indian market or karne important hoy, and at the same time যেহেতু ইণ্ডিয়ান মাৰ্কেটৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হয়, চ' ডমেষ্টিক মাৰ্কেটে যদি তেনেকৈ বিকি আছে সেইখিনি প্ৰডাক্ট আৰু ডাম্পিং যদি হৈ যায়, তেতিয়া সেই ডমেষ্টিক মাৰ্কেটৰখিনি বা ডমেষ্টিক প্লেয়াৰ্ছৰ কাৰণে ইট বিকামছ আ বিট ডিফিকাল্ট. Okay, so that is why in recent times there are two products basically in April and in May, দুটা প্ৰডাক্টৰ কাৰণে এণ্টি ডাম্পিং ডিউটি দিব লগা হ'ব বুলি কোৱা হৈছে, and those two products you have to remember. I hope you're getting the idea of anti dumping. The product is sodium cyanide, okay, and the other product is trichloroisocyanuric acid. Okay, where is it coming from? Hetu usually question of nuhud hai. Okay, but then also you should remember sodium cyanide, this is being imported from China, European Union, Japan and Korea. Okay, so this particular product sodium cyanide in their country it is of the same price as it is in India. Okay, as it is in India, but in Indian market they're dumping it at a lower price. Okay, and as a result it is affecting the normal market, it is affecting the normal domestic market of sodium cyanide. In the same way trichloroisocyanuric acid, this is also being imported to India, and it is imported at a lower price. So now the DGTR it has recommended isocyanuric acid, and for sodium cyanide there we have to add up anti-dumping duty, because the price is becoming lower than the market price that is originally being sold in the country. The jor ami import kori asu tar mane China sodium cyanide or dam to already besi hoi ase, kintu amar market ot ahi pela kom damot biki ase, jar karone amar domestic players khinir production is becoming threatened, or it is threatened. Now also one more important point, যেটো আপোনালোকে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিবা sodium cyanide হল বা এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিবা যেতিয়া market product চাই লয়, okay, তেতিয়া kindly try to see their usage, because in science and tech they will add up these particular compounds, and you will think যে science and tech ot sodium cyanide কথা কিয় উঠিলে, but actually sodium cyanide কথা হেকাৰণে উঠিছে because it is in market, it is in current affairs. So sodium cyanide basic যোনটো কাম হয় হেতু জানি থলে your science part is also being done. In this case sodium cyanide it is used as an extraction of gold, silver, so it is important. Okay, electroplating hoy, heat treatment hoy, dyes, pigments, very simple ke apnaloke eta basic idea ta rakhi thodibo. In the same way trichloroisocyanuric acid is very important for water treatment. Okay, so water treatment koribole this particular compound is being used. So junbila company amar trichloroisocyanuric acid domestically produce korise, so they are being threatened by this anti dumping, by this dumping activity of China and Japan juntu market ot dekha goisile. Okay, so DGTR has recommended, etaleke hua nai recommendation confirm hua nai, but they have recommended in the past 2 months ei duta product or karne anti-dumping duty add hobo lage. So the current affairs that is important from this point of view is eta to apnaloke anti-dumping or definition janibo lage, like I said. So definition is here, it is exporting at below national market cost to gain market share on the world market. I hope you're getting this point now. আৰু anti-dumping duties, they are enabled in the article 6 of GATT. Okay, this you should remember. Apart from that, you should remember sodium cyanide or function to ki hoy. Just minimal function, extraction of gold and silver. This is taken up from the news itself. So yatke basi tahti nude. And trichloroisocyanuric acid or kaam huise water treatment. So basic function to you should know, so that if they ask you, then you should be able to at least clarify that question. Also, who initiated this investigation? Eight question apnalokor nahe, just for an additional information. Enekwa dhৰণৰ questions nahe kuntu কোম্পানীয়ে কোনটো যি কি ধৰণৰ ইনভেষ্টিগেশ্যন কৰিছিলে, এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কুৱেশ্যন নাহে। মষ্টলি দে আস্ক ইউ হু ৰিকমেণ্ডেড। ইয়াত আপোনালোকৰ চেঞ্জ কৰি পেলাই কৈ দিব মিনিষ্ট্ৰী অফ ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰিজ এণ্ড ট্ৰেড এণ্ড কমাৰ্চ, তেনেকৈ দি দিব। বাট একচুৱেলি ইট ইজ দ্য ডিৰেক্টৰ জেনেৰেল অফ ট্ৰেড ৰেমিডিজ, DGTR. You should remember this. So this is the directorate which is recommending the imposition of anti-dumping duties. So this is for general information, and for this you should the basic idea of anti-dumping duty you should know. Okay, তাৰ লগতে আমাৰ থাকে CVD. Okay, CVD কি হয়? For example, the same example I'll take, the notebook which was sold in our country, which is being sold in our country for 55 rupees. Now in case of CVD also, the same thing happens, but the only problem is that, suppose for example in anti-dumping ki hoisile 55 rupees or notebook khon ahi 30 tokat amar yat dump kori disile, but yat in case of CVD what happens is, in the market, in that particular foreign market, actual price to is 30 rupees hoy. Okay, they are not dumping it. Actual price is 30 and they are selling it at 30 in our market also. So there is no option of dumping. It's not like that particular country is selling it at lower price. It is selling at the same price, but still it is affecting our market because the price is lower in the Indian context. Okay, in this case also, again they'll add up a rupee of, let's say, custom duty kora pisa, suppose 10% custom duty dile, and tar pisa apunar 33 rupees man hoy gol. So hey 22 rupees to ako CVD and countervailing duty hisabe join kori dibo. So the only difference between anti-dumping and CVD is that anti-dumping or in their market the price is high, but they're dumping it in our market at a lower price. But in CVD, countervailing duty, the price is already the same. The price is not different. The price in the foreign market and in the exported market, it is the same. The only problem is that since it is same, it is affecting the domestic market. Okay, because cheaper products, we prefer cheaper products. So at that point of time, to make the price same, hey 55 rupees ole same price at add koribole 22 rupees or countervailing duty at a custom duty nisnake additional. You'll always use this keyword. There'll be additional custom duty. Okay, that additional custom duty is being added to the product. So that is the CVD because teneke amar current affairs nai. The current affairs is only related to anti-dumping duty for now. Okay, future jodi ahe, then we will add up. So economics আমি তিনটা নিউজ এতিয়ালৈকে পঢ়িলো। নেক্সট ইজ ফাণ্ডিং উইণ্টাৰ। অ'কে, ইকনমিক্সৰ অলপ কণ্টেণ্টটো থোৰা ট্ৰিকি হৈ যায়, অলপমান ট্ৰিকি হৈ যায়। চ' কাইণ্ডলি ট্ৰাই টু এনালাইজ ইট উইথ কাৰেণ্ট এফেয়াৰ্ছ, উইথ ইয়ৰ নিয়াৰ বাই এনভাইৰনমেণ্ট। নিজে আপোনালোকে এক্সাম্পল হিচাপে ভাবিব। অ'কে, দেন ইট উইল বি ইজিয়াৰ ফৰ ইউ টু ৰিলেট। অ'কে, because I'm not going into deeper, because CVD and everything এইবিলাকত গ'লে GAT suppose কৈ দিলোঁ মই, so সেইখিনিৰ অলপমান নিজৰ কনচেপ্টখিনিও আছে, but that we will do in the static like part. For now, at least try to grab the news and try to grab the gist, which news is important from MCQ point of view, বা নিউজটোৰ পৰা কোনটো component MCQ হিচাপে আহিব, that you should know. Okay, now funding winter, this is a term which is very common in the যোনটো আমাৰ startup worldত এইটো word termটো very common হয়। So you should know that সেইকাৰণে মই এইটো add up কৰিছোঁ। It was a recent news, এনেকুৱা as such বহুত particular statistics নাই, but just because the news was seen, so I've added this term. You should know that what is funding winter. So funding winter is a term of, or is a period of uncertainty. কিহৰ uncertainty হয়? Financial uncertainty. তাৰ মানে কি হয়? During this time, there is reduced capital inflows to startups, which means যেনেকে startups কাৰণে আমি capital in the sense, what is capital? Anything to start, the money to start a particular business. Okay, that any kind of initiative যদি আপোনালোকে লয়, তেতিয়া সেই এটা amount of money লাগিব, capital লাগিব, assets লাগিব. So there is a period where this kind of financial uncertainty is seen in the startup world. So hey period we call it the funding winter. Okay, so funding winter karone 80% of our Indian startups had plummeted, mane bondo hoy goisil in 2023. Investments from large foreign investors in Indian startup, they had plummeted by 80% due to funding winter in the country's startup ecosystem. Okay, a funding winter signifies reduced capital inflows, this I've said, influenced by various factors. Now see, factors can be anything. For example, jodi apunar particular regionত এটা কোম্পানী খুলিবলে, let's say my place XYZ, I belong to this place and I want to open a company there, I want to set up a company there. Okay, so what will be the best features? What is the basic requirement? That infrastructure bhalo hobo lage, connectivity bhalo hobo lage, security hobo lage. Okay, let's say I will consider these three features for now. Aru bahut features lage, but moi et tinta features consider korisu. সেই particular মানে XYZ জায়গাটোত যদি for example if there is security কেছত যদি কম্প্ৰমাইজ হৈ গ'ল, ফৰ এক্সাম্পল চুৰ ডকাইত হৈ গ'ল, ফৰ এক্সাম্পল ছেটআপ কৰিবলৈ মই বিল্ডিং এটা বনাব লাগে আৰু ৰাতিটোৰ ভিতৰতে ইটা বালি মাটি মোৰ চুৰ হৈ গ'ল. So that is what, that is a kind of insecurity, that is a kind of security issue, right? Then for example infrastructure, so by road যোনখিনি road আহিছিলে and climate conditions কাৰণে তাত let's say landslide হৈ গ'ল, okay, floods হৈ গ'ল, flash floods হৈ গ'ল, so the work will stop. এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ যদি সিচুৱেশনছ বাৰে বাৰে যদি ক্ৰিয়েট হৈ থাকে তেতিয়া কি হ'ব, these unrest, okay, these unrest will not attract investors. The investors বা আপুনি বা কোনোবা এজনে ধৰি লওক মোৰ তাতে যদি এটা particular company যদি setup বা বনাব যায়, then you will not be interested. Why? Because you will tell the investors that no তাত হ'ব নোৱাৰে. Why? Because তাত ৰাতিটোতে বালি মাটি চুৰ হৈ যায়, তাত landslides হয়. So because of these are some natural, but these are some I would say infrastructural problems, security problems that will hamper investors to invest in your company or invest in your setup. All right, so that will become a problem. Now in this case what will happen, you will not get investments for a long time jetialeke hey security problem solve no jetialeke landslides bhal no. So that is the funding winter for you, that period will be the funding winter for you. But in case of Indian context ki hobo pare, eta ami Indian context ami itabali suror kotha to kobo nwaru. So as a whole there will be geopolitical unrest. For example, there will be war going on, there might be a chance of insecurity going on, there might be a chance of national security. Okay, there might be chance of financial irregularities, mane dhori lok the startups which are doing it, they are not able to give the proper break even point, they're not even they're properly giving the what do you call this, the profit maximum hua nai. So there'll be xyz reasons, hekhini ami mostly MCQ point of view pa nalage, but just for understanding the funding winter to exactly ahibo kyo. Okay, so the funding winter aha reason it that there'll be reduced capital inflows for many reasons. For example, geopolitical unrest ho pare, climatic change ho pare, any xyz reason because of which the particular startup company is not functioning properly. Okay, this phenomenon forces startups to prioritize profit maximization, conserve working capital, suspend expansion plans. So all of this is the output or the result. So jeta funding window start ho jabo tete ki hobo, obviously working capital, that means daily working capital minimize koribo laga hobo, because funds jodi nahe tetia expansion plans mane aru startup or expansion or kotha bhabibo nware. So as a whole it affects the startup environment. Okay, so I hope you're getting the idea. The key important point here is what is funding winter. As it is question ahibo pare, which of the following terms refers to funding winter, because 2023 investments were largely affected by capital. They were facing a very huge 80% of them, they faced funding winters. Okay, so this is important. Jodio 2023 news hoy, but since etialeke hit a particular incident to pra amar recovery hua nai, so this term becomes important. Okay, so funding winter is nothing but financial uncertainty. Kar karne hoy, not for all the companies, it is basically for the startups. What is the problem? There is reduced capital inflows. These are the key words you should remember. Okay, startups, they face it. What do they face? They face financial uncertainty. Okay, and the third point is that there is reduced capital inflows for a particular time, and that was seen in 2023 for about 80% of them. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let's move on to the next economics component, that is asset monetization. I hope you are aware of what is asset monetization. Okay, so what is asset monetization? Let's first see that. Asset monetization is, it was first given by the very renowned economist Vijay Kelkar. আপোনালোকে যদি economics পঢ়ে Vijay Kelkar নাম শুনিবই. Okay, we'll discuss this in static, so I'll not go deep into this. So asset monetization, it was first suggested by economist Vijay Kelkar. This is important from prelims point of view. Directly আপোনাৰ statement basis or time term লিখি দিব কোনটো year 2012. Okay, this is important. It was announced in Union Budget 2021 through the National Monetization Pipeline. Okay, this is an old component. It etia nuhude, but just for the first time kete announce korisile hetu apnaloke likhibo pare. In suggestion and announcement, there's a huge difference. It was suggested by Vijay Kelkar committee, that was in 2012 itself. Kintu announce first time kete kora hoisile in the budget 21-22. Jodio etia news or nai, it might not come, but you should still know. And you should still remember that first into instance, first it asset monetization was formally recognized by the budget. It was in 21-22 under the name National Monetization Pipeline. So now what is asset monetization? AM is the process of creating new sources of revenue for the government and its entities by unlocking the economic value of unutilized or underutilized public assets. For example, let's say আপোনালোকৰ ঘৰৰ ওচৰত, okay, this is just a layman example, this is not going to be a perfect example. For example, আপোনালোকৰ ঘৰত এখন বিল আছে, বিল মানে সবে গম পাই চাগে মাৰ্শল্যান্ড দ্বীপৰ বিল যেনেকৈ থাকে, ৰাইট? সো এখন বিল আছে আৰু সেই পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ বিলখন আপোনালোকে দেখিছে যে এপ্ৰক্সিমেটলি ধৰি লওক 10-12 বিঘা এখন বিল এনে পৰি আছে. So that is an asset. Why? Because bilot both ecotourism activities hobo pare, bilot mass porjonto jodi ami bhal agricultural system ba fishery system we can create. Okay, so that particular asset is underutilized or not utilized. He bill khon amar utilize hua nai for a very very long time. আৰু এইটো বহুত স্মল এক্সাম্পল হয়, ইন দি কনটেক্সট অফ ইণ্ডিয়ান কনটেক্সট এইটো বহুত ডাঙৰ এক্সাম্পলছ হ'ব. ফৰ এক্সাম্পল দেৰ বি হিউজ ৰোডছ উইচ আৰ নট বিং ইউটিলাইজড. ফৰ এক্সাম্পল দেৰ বি হিউজ বডিজ, এয়াৰপৰ্টছ উইচ হেভ বা ৰেলৱে ষ্টেচনছ যোনখিনি প্ৰপাৰলি ইউটিলাইজ হোৱা নাই. কেনেকৈ তাৰ অলদ' that railway station is there, for example, সেইটো railway station through train যায়, but কেতিয়াও suppose ৰখা নাই, সেইখিনি মানুহখিনি সেই particular গাঁওখনৰ বা সেই particular জিলা বা টাউনটোৰ মানুহখিনি গৈ পেলাই বেলেগ এখন ডিষ্ট্ৰিক্টৰ ষ্টেচনলৈ যায়, ফৰ এক্সাম্পল. চ' লেটছ চে ইন গোলাঘাট ইউ হেভ এভৰিৱান ডেফিনেটলি ন'জ গোলাঘাটত ছাপ'জ ৰেলৱে ষ্টেচন এটা আছে, হাইপথেটিকেল চিটুৱেশ্যন, আৰু সেই ৰেলৱে ষ্টেচনত কেতিয়াও লেটছ চে কোনো এখন ট্ৰেইন ৰখাই নাই বা সেই ষ্টেচনটো ফাংচনেল নহয়. ষ্টিল দেট ফাংচনেল ষ্টেচনত ষ্টিল ইউ উইল চি দেট ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি ইউজ হৈ আছে, অফিচ আছে, পিপল আৰ ৱৰ্কিং. So if the trains don't wait there, then what? And the people are not able to board trains from that particular station. So what is the use of that particular railway station? So those kinds of etia bilor kotha to bahut horu scale kolu moi. Indian context it will be a very big let's say mane asset terms or bahut dangor kiba ta property hobo. Okay, so that those particular assets which are underutilized or not utilized as a whole dono hoga, theek hai? Underutilized kunto example hobo junto railway station, the railway station is there but the people are not boarding trains, so that is underutilization. Unutilized mane jeneke bill khon 10-12 bochor pa pori ase. Okay, so that is not being utilized as a whole, so that is unutilized. So these keywords you have to remember when you write in answer writing mains exam ot apnaloke enekwa dhonor keywords bilak monot rakhi pelai you should always perform your answers. So for that you should start from prelims itself. Prelims or practice or apnaloke etu bostu monot rakhibo, jiman besi varieties of keywords bhorabo, dimensions bhorabo answers or himane your answer quality will get better. Okay, so asset monetization is nothing but creating new sources of revenue. Okay, so etu apnaloke keyword monot rakhibo, revenue creating process eta hoy via what? Via unutilized or underutilized public assets by unlocking their potential. Okay, so these are important. Asset monetization is creating new sources of revenue for the government by unlocking the unutilized or underutilized economic values. Economic values of what? Of these unutilized and underutilized public assets. All right. So I hope this is clear. It's a very simple concept. Khali apnaloke yat ki monot rakhibo lagibo. Asset utilization kune suggest korisile, kuntu budgetot for the first time in the form of key term ahisile, announce korisile, definition to ki hoy. Okay. Now, what is current affairs here? Recently, NHAI raised its highest ever monetization value of rupees 15,624 crores through the InvIT, Infrastructure Investment Trust Mode. Okay, so Monetization value as in jiman underutilization or underutilized assets and unutilized assets kini use kori pelai this was the highest value created. Although these words will or numbers will not be used, but still jihetu this is a news, so they will ask you about asset monetization. That is why this topic is important. Okay, so NHAI, you can remember that this is the highest ever, it raised its highest ever monetization value. Our mode to ki hoitu monot rakhibo, in which this is a part of I will discussion koribo gole adha ghonta man lagi jabo, so I'll not go deep into this. You can go and check it once. In our static classes we are going to discuss about these modes. Okay, in the investment chapter we are going to discuss what is InvIT, what are the different modes of investments, etc. Okay, next, asset reconstruction company. Now, asset monetization is different. That is creating revenue. Monetization, paisa create kora. So that is different, creating revenue. Asset reconstruction is different. Asset reconstruction hoise, I think I've added the definition here. It is a financial institution that buys NPAs. NPAs mane non-performing assets or bad assets from banks and financial institutions so that the latter can clean up their balance sheets. So what are NPAs? Again, this is a component of static component. Still what are thulmulke koriso. So there are some. Let's say I'll give an example again. For example, there's a person. I took a loan. Okay, I took a loan of let's say 1 lakh rupees, and more interest. Sorry, it extra whole zero. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, let's say I took a loan of around 1 lakh. Okay, and I some 10% interest. Let's say so 1,10,000 I'll have to return something like that. Okay. Now what happens is I have to pay a monthly amount of 5,000 rupees. Our more loan to teneke suppose let's say 2-3 years or hek ho jabo. Okay, way calculation not very accurate, but just to explain the concept. Now let's say I took 1 lakh more monthly installment about 5,000 around, and in the next 1 year I did not pay these installments. Okay, so I did not pay these installments, and these kind of loan whoever took loans june eneke paisa to ghurai nidiye, so these are considered in a period of 12 months or so, these will be considered as non performing assets. Why? Because they are not giving the installment, and at the same time they are not an asset to the particular bank because they are not also in the process of creating any form of by interest generation যোনটো আছিল সেই এমাউণ্টটো ঘূৰাই পোৱা তেনেকুৱা হেৰি নাই, তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কোনো ধৰণৰ প্ৰচিজাৰটো ফলো হোৱা নাই. So in short, these are those assets, or these are those loans, but these are those like the bank they had provided or given the money, but they are not getting it back in the form of interest or in the form of the principal amount also. So these are the non-performing assets. Okay, assets এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কেইবাটাও থাকে. So I'm directly going to the non-performing assets, substandard assets, doubtful assets, okay, loss assets, বহুতখিনি থাকে based on the time period. So কোনোবা এটা asset এনেকুৱা হ'ব পাৰে 3 months কাৰণে লোন ইণ্টাৰেষ্টটো দিয়া নাই, কোনোবা asset হয় যোনটো 6 months কাৰণে দিয়া নাই. NPAs are something who have not given the premium or the given the installments for 1 year or more than that. Okay, so these kinds of assets they need to be closed. So এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ assets of either reconstruct কৰিব লাগিব, নহলে they will buy those assets. Who will buy those assets? These reconstruction companies. So ARCs are nothing but bank or NPAs খিনি safa কৰি দিয়ে. Okay, so these bad assets from banks they are being brought back by the ARCs, and such companies they help the bank get rid of those NPAs because they give a very bad performance, or hetu karone na to interest to pai thake na to the principal amount to pai. Okay, so these assets are taken back by the asset reconstruction companies. Or recently in April, the ARCs are being the RBI basically they have issued a master direction for asset reconstruction companies. Okay, and they are given by SARFAESI. SARFAESI was our securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest, a very very important body from prelims and any exam point of view. Okay, if you are going for RA, if you're going for any kind of economics based exams, CDPO to in fact you can a ধৰণৰ questions খিনি a ধৰণৰ economic bodies খিনি you should keep in mind. Okay, এটা question ইয়াৰ পৰা আহি যাব পাৰে. All right, so the guidelines, the new guidelines, they stipulate that ARCs must maintain a minimum capital of rupees 300 crores with existing ARCs given until March 31st 2026 to meet these threshold. So this is the current affairs that you should keep in mind. Directly ahi jabo that what is the minimum capital that the new guidelines are mentioning what is the minimum guideline, that is rupees 300 crores. যদি ARCs নতুন setup হয় 300 crores থাকিব লাগিব, কিন্তু যোনখিনি existing ARCs আছে যদি সেই অকল ARCsৰ মানে asset reconstruction companies যদি 300 crores নাই, then March 31st 2026 লকে they have been given the deadline to meet this threshold. Okay, non-compliant ARCs will face supervisory action. Of course, etu general statement hoy, eneka dhoroner keteo nahe. ARCs with minimum net own fund of rupees 1000 crore can act as a resolution applicants and are permitted to invest in specified instruments. So basically jar 1000 crores or fund ase, so they can also go for investments. But this is not an important component from prelims. Prelims are kind of important hoy. What is the master direction? Who gave the master direction? ইয়াতে আপোনাৰ কুৱেশ্যনটো চেঞ্জ কৰি পেলাই লিখি দিব সেবি, ইয়াতে আপোনাৰ কুৱেশ্যন লিখি পেলাই কৈ দিব SBI. Okay, so this you should remember that RBI has introduced a master direction for asset reconstruction companies, আৰু হেতু কোম্পানীটোৰ reconstruction asset companies er babe juntu direction hetu ki hoy, that a minimum capital has to be stored. And what is the minimum capital? That is rupees 300. Existing junkhini ARCs ase he hakole by March 2026 31st March, before the financial year end of 2026, they have to meet up with this threshold. Okay, also RBI has issued this, but who will work out this? The SESSION Act 2002. Okay, SESSION Act 2002 de bostuto incorporate kora hoise. Okay, it is conferred by the Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. Please remember this. Very simple concepts, বহুত complicated একো নাই, you just have to remember the body. ARC কি হয়, I just told you, যোনখিনি আমাৰ bad assets থাকে banksৰ, they buy those assets, and these particular ARCs, they have been given a master direction by RBI, which is conferred by the SESSION Act 2002. What is the guideline? That minimum capital of 300 crores has to be kept. Or jar 300 crores nai, the existing ARCs, okay, they have to meet this threshold by 2026. All right. So the next topic is, I think we are almost at the end of the economics junkhini amar asile current affairs for April and May. Okay. So next is 30 years of Marrakesh Agreement. So I think you have heard of Marrakesh Agreement. What is Marrakesh Agreement? It was in Morocco. It was signed in Marrakesh, Morocco, okay, by 123 countries in 1994 after the Uruguay round. This is all from general আমাৰ ইকনমিক্সৰ হেৰি যোনখিনি ইকনমিক বডিজ হয় তাৰ পৰা হয়. Marrakesh round is a very important, it was a very important agreement. Why? Because it led to the establishment of World Trade Organization 1 year after the agreement, that is in 1994. আৰু অলপ আগতে আমি GATT পঢ়িছিলো, that is General Agreement on Trades and Tariff, replace কৰি দিছিলে. Okay, WTO, the World Trade Organization, I think everyone knows, World Trade Organization replaced the GATT, that is General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which was also an international agreement, organization. But remember that GATT is not as a whole close কৰি দিয়া হোৱা নাছিলে. It is still there, but basic কিছুমান যোনখিনি আমাৰ trade and tariffs related যোনখিনি আমাৰ কাম আছিলে, those are being transferred to WTO now. Okay, so why is this important? Because it is 30 years. Okay, it is 30 years, 1994 1995. So there is a high probability that they might ask you a question on Marrakesh. এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ important bodies are যেতিয়া 30 years হয়, jubilee হয় বা platinum jubilee হয়, তেতিয়া they usually prelims usually hetu context of question ahi jay. Okay, because it is very much in news, আৰু গোটেই বছৰটো হেতু বস্তু news থাকিবই. All right. So from here you have to remember one thing, static portion to basic important hoy, current affairs are just at a point hoy that it is celebrating 30 years, but this will not come in exam. Kiman year celebrate korse tenekwa dhona question nahe, because it is 30 years this year, so it is going to be important. That is why they will ask you about Marrakesh Agreement. Who is celebrating it? Of course, WTO. Why? Because WTO genesis hoy from the Marrakesh Agreement. When was the year? They might ask you, which is 1994. Marrakesh Court ase in Morocco. Okay, and 123 countries were took part in that, or were a part of the Marrakesh Agreement. What did it replace? It replaced GATT. All right. What is Marrakesh Agreement? So it is basically a framework for trade relations. Okay, WTO jiman members ase, so yeah, important hoy India member hoy na, obviously hoy. So if for better trade relations between different countries, all the WTO members, this Marrakesh Agreement was signed. Okay, after that it extended the scope beyond trade in goods to trade in services, intellectual property and other topics. Tar mane not just in goods. For example, import and export of, let's say, any product. Let's say any product. Suppose, yeah, silk. This is a good. Okay, this was before. আগতে অকল গুডছ এক্সচেঞ্জ কৰাতহে আমাৰ মষ্টলি এগ্ৰিমেণ্টছ খিনি বা যিমানখিনি ৰুলছ এণ্ড ৰেগুলেশ্যন আছিলে দ'জ আৰ মষ্টলি ফৰ গুডছ but not for services. What will be services? For example, hotel management. For example, a person who studied hotel management in India, now he is going to work in a hotel in the US or the UK. So that is not a product. The person is giving a service. For example, the companies, they have exchange programs, the student programs, these are exchange programs. IPR, intellectual property right. For example, we have a patent on haldi, for example, turmeric. Okay, so turmeric related jiman khini amar important research ho, but jiman khini amar important components ase. For example, there's a compound in haldi which might fight cancer, so we can trade that, or we can use that as a commercial entity and sell it to other countries. Okay, so that is intellectual property. So trade means basically exchange in monetary terms. So otherwise, before WTO, before the Marrakesh Agreement, it was only restricted to goods. But ETIA, after the establishment of Marrakesh Agreement, after the establishment of WTO, this particular like scope, it has extended from goods to services to intellectual property and other topics also. Okay, it established modern multilateral trading system. These are general statements, not so important. It created WTO's governance, establishing ministerial conference. Of course, this is not so important. The most important point here is, when was Marrakesh Agreement signed? It was in 1994. Between how many countries? 1, 2, 3. Monotakil 123, and it replaced what? It replaced the GATT. Okay, or it monotakibo goods or logote. It expanded the scope to services, intellectual property rights. Okay, so this is important. You should try to remember at least 2 3 points also from these particular jimankhini ami current affairs course economics or. So these were the most explanatory ones that we have added, but otherwise there are many other economics based news. For example, kobat jodi amar CO change hoise, important components of course teneke ketiao APSC ba government exams bilage code kunjon bank mane bankor kiba CO change hole nuhudhe, but very important organization jodi kunba change hoise, then they are mostly asked. For example, if RBI governance changed, they will ask. If SEBI someone is changing, they will ask. Okay, so you should make a note of that. So those are mostly added in our MCQ programs, not here. Yet ami mostly we are discussing the ones which are most explanatory, which require some concept. Hekhini current affairs ami yat mane kori aso. Okay, so that was mostly about the economics point of view. Aru eta news ami korido, then I will open the session for discussion. If you have any doubts regarding the current affairs component, you can ask me. Okay, let's just finish this part first. Next is science and tech. So India delivered the first batch of BrahMos to the Philippines. Very, very important. Okay, very, very important. BrahMos. I hope everyone has heard of BrahMos. BrahMos is a joint venture. Kar major ase DRDO India and Russia. Okay, DRDO India and Russia's and NPO Mahinostroenia, and this particular missile, BrahMos, it is for the first time. The first batch is being delivered to Philippines. Etu monot rakhibo that India's defense exports or etu eta bahut dangor component hoy. Jihetu ami for the first time we are delivering the first batch of BrahMos to Philippines. Question ahibo, which of the following countries received the first batch of BrahMos? Direct question ahibo, which is very, very important. Again, like I'm saying, the answer is Philippines. Etu apnaloke monot rakhibo. Direct memory based question hoy. There is no concept here. Okay, so we should understand one thing, that exchange or exports of defense, it is a very important component of current affairs. If you export dekhe, then you should know that it helps in increasing, or it helps in creating Juntu India's position of in the global south. Okay, exports will always increase or have a good or increase or enhance India's position in the global south. So hey bostuto apnaloke monot rakhibo defense point of view. Second hoise jihetu these countries are in the South Asian part of the amar region hoy, so Chinese influence to olop undermine koribole defense exports jodi ami in terms of defense jodi relation banai rakho, there Chinese influence to olop komabole it kind of countervails it. Okay, so that is also one of the reasons. Baki to amar obviously exports from economics point of view, it is always there because it adds up to our GDP and everything. So সেইখিনি আমাৰ direct যোনটো impact থাকে. Indirect pointত আমাৰ সদায় global position southত যোনটো আমাৰ position এটা আছে Indian position to strengthen কৰে. And the second point is to undermine the Chinese influence. Otherwise, these countries will also get defense exports from China also. But if we also start exporting products, our products, defense exports to these countries, to the nearby countries, then we have a good um, strategized connection with the nearby neighbors যোনখিনি আমাৰ হয়, okay, in the southeast region, and as a result it helps in undermining the Chinese influence also. Okay, so আপোনালোকে এই বস্তুটো mostly for an understanding conceptual point of view পৰা হয়. The main point is BrahMos Aerospace, it is a joint venture between the DRDO আৰু Russia হয়. It is a supersonic missile, okay, and for the first time, the first batch of BrahMos, it is given to which country? The Philippines. And the BrahMos is named on two different rivers, that is Brahmaputra from India and Moskva from Russia. Okay, so we can stop here for today, and if you have any doubts, then I have opened up the microphone for discussion.